Good afternoon. I'm Lobsang Sangye, and I'll be giving a workshop tomorrow on how to set up and run democratic government exile. Today, it's a rare privilege, an honor for me to be the presenter of the Václav Havel International Prize for Creative Dissent to three fantastic creative dissenters, whom I'll introduce them and invite them to stage in a few minutes. On a personal note, I came and spoke at the Oslo Freedom Forum in 2013. And I said at that time, what would Buddha do if you send him an email? No attachment, please. Because attachment is one of the three cardinal sins in Buddhism. So even after 2,500 years, when you receive an email, Buddha's message is still relevant. Don't open attachment. Unless it's from Buddha himself. After 11 years, I also noticed great changes. Number one, the Oslo Freedom Forum has become bigger and better, sophisticated and more powerful. For that, we need to thank Celine and staff members of the Human Rights Foundation and all the volunteers. Another change I noticed, also the founder, Thor himself. Yesterday he was talking about many of the heroes, freedom fighters and dissidents in this room suffering trauma. And he advised how to cope with it. And he said, we must have compassion, joy, and empathy. He sounded like a Buddhist monk. If you ask His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he would say the same thing. Now, talking about Buddha and Dalai Lama, we have to talk about karma. We all know what karma is. If you do good things, you earn more positive karma. If you do bad things, you earn bad karma. And then for 3 days, yesterday and today's morning, we listened to all these heroes talking about these dictators and ruthless regime violating human rights, doing all the bad things. And we wonder, what would happen to these dictators? Well, as per their karma, they have earned so many bad karmas that they will go to hell. And they will live there forever. Now, what will happen to us, to freedom fighters and heroes in this world? Well, you are the good guys. You have done a tremendous job fighting for justice, human rights, democracy, freedom, environmental rights, and women's rights. Yes? If there is, when we talk about beacon of hope, you are the beacon of hope. When you talk about angels, you are the angels. If there are gods and goddesses in this world, you are the messengers. We will bring democracy, freedom, and peace in this world. Because of your tremendous job, all the good things you have done, you have earned so many good karma that we will go to heaven. Dictators will go to hell, we will go to heaven. And talking about, heaven, this is a heavenly gathering. And Oslo Freedom Forum perhaps should be called Heavenly Freedom Forum. We are in Norway, close to North Pole, and which is a gateway to heaven anyways, right? And today, I have the privilege of inviting three heroes, three creative dissenters. They are winning the Václav Havel International Prize for Creative Dissent. They are the heroes, they are the winners. That's why they have the front row seat to heaven. Now, let me invite each one of them. By the way, all those donors in the room, if you're wondering what will happen to you all, because you contribute for good cause, you are earning good karma each time you contribute, okay? So we'll take you along. Now I'm pleased to announce the recipient of the 2024 Václav Havel International Prize for Creative Dissent, Iranian hip-hop artist Tomas Salehi. Let me read his bio. Tomas Salehi is an Iranian hip-hop artist known for lyrics protesting the Iranian regime and calling for human rights. In September 2022, at the height of the nationwide Women Life Freedom protest, Salehi released several songs supporting women's rights. One song, Divination, with the lyrics, "Someone's crime was that her hair was flowing in the wind. Someone's crime is that he or she was brave and outspoken," grew in popularity and was sung throughout the protest. Salehi was first arrested in October 2022 and was released on bail in November 2023 after the Iranian Supreme Court overturned his charges of corruption on earth, propaganda against the system, collaboration with a hostile government, inciting people to murder and riot, and insulting the leadership. On October 27, 2023, he posted a YouTube video describing the torture and forced confession he experienced during his detention. 3 days later, armed plainclothes agent abducted Salehi. He was subsequently charged in 2 trials. On April 2024, just 2 months ago, Salehi was sentenced to death. Sadly, he can't be here, and the award will be received by his associate and friend, Negin Nignam. Please welcome Negin.
Tomas is not here. He cannot be here today. He sits in prison behind cold bars in Iran and sentenced to death. The Islamic Republic wants to execute him. Why? Because he's much more than a musician. He's a beacon of hope, a symbol of resistance, and a steadfast advocate for human rights. Iranians call him the son of Iran and their hero. He speaks of love, peace, solidarity, and hope. The regime has accused him of corruption on earth because they fear the courage he represents, the courage of the Iranian society that he shows through his art and shatters the walls of fear in the face of dictatorship. The Islamic Republic wants to execute him because he has become the voice of a nation yearning for freedom. Like the brave injured protesters who are here with us today, Sima, Zaniar, and Kosar Eftekhari. Like those whose children were shot during the protests, like those courageous women and men who drew their last breath under the brutality of the security forces. He is their voice. I humbly ask you to raise your voice for too much. The regime has sometimes yielded to international pressure. The situation in Iran demands our attention. Too much face execution or lifetime imprisonment, and many others have been executed, and many other faces execution right now. I urge you to keep fighting for too much until he's free, no matter how rocky the road to freedom for him, for all political prisoners, and for Iran. Despite the crackdowns, imprisonments, and executions, the movement for freedom in Iran continues to gain strength. But the lack of European actions from the West, from the European countries, will encourage the Islamic Republic to kill more innocent protesters. As too much said, the ultimate death is the death of hope. He remains hopeful even behind the bars. So let's amplify the voices of all brave protesters and not disappoint them, and fight together for what they stand for. This award is a powerful recognition of the fight for freedom of speech and expression, a struggle that Too Much so bravely embodies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next recipient is Tahir Hamoud Itzgil. Tahir Hamoud Itzgil is a prominent Uyghur poet, filmmaker, and activist. He is known for his avant-garde poetry, written in Uyghur and influenced by Uyghur life. Originally from Kashgar, Itzgil led the 1989 student movement at the Central Nationalities Institute in Beijing. In the late 1990s, he was arrested on charges related to the possession of sensitive literature, leading to 3-year sentence in forced labor camps. He is among the few Uyghur intellectuals who successfully escaped the region in 2017. Itzgil's new memoir, Waiting to be Arrested at Night, a Uyghur poet's memoir of China's genocide, documents his journey, living in and escaping the Uyghur region, sharing a rare testimony of the Uyghurs' genocide with the broader world. His book has been listed as one of the 50 notable works of non-fiction by the Washington Post and one of the 100 must-read books of 2023 by Time magazine. Unfortunately, because of document purposes, Tahir could not be with us, and he has sent us a video message. Please, let's watch his video.
Salam Oslo erkinlik müdürü. Kişilik hukuk fondunun Veslav Havel icadi öhtü mükafatını bana berginiga çoğunkur teşekkür ediyorum. 2017 yıldan bu yan, Xitay hükümetinin Uygurlarga qaratgan irqiy qirg'inchilik siyosati izchil davomlashmoqda. Ko'plagan ziyolilarni o'z ichiga olgan milliondan ortiq begunoh Uyg'ur lager va turmalarda azob chekmoqda. Ularning orasida mening yozuvchi, shoir va san'atkor do'stlarim bor. Hozir ularning ovozi bo'g'ilgan. Gerçi men adabiyot bilan siyosiyning munosabatiga nihoyat ehtiyotchan muomala qiladigan bir shoir bo'lsam-mu, lekin bir Uyg'ur bo'lg'achqa, mening she'rlarimda xalqimning qismatlari doim aks etadi. Xususiy his tuyg'u bilan kollektiv taqdirning kesishmasi bo'lgan bu she'rlar mening adolatsizlikka bergan javoblarimdir. Endi sizlarga javob degan she'rimni o'qib beraman. Javob. Ey dunyoni qushning ko'zida kuzatguchi. Bizning suyishishimizga sapsilib qara. Ey qurut qo'ng'izlarga nasihat qilg'uchi. bizning gunohlarimizdan hech gumon qilma. Ey oyoqlashmas jidalga guvoh bo'g'uchi, bizning titravotgan qo'llarimizni his qil. Ey talvi chiroylarni beqib cho'ng qilg'uchi, bizning yuzimizga po'lat niqoblarni tart. Ey bayram kunlarida g'azablik nari tortquchi, hech kim tushunmas kuylarimizga quloq sol. Ey yiroq qadamdan mengib kelgan davolashquchi, tuproqni kap etib yeydigan balalarimizni ko'r. Ey g'oyiblar dunyosi haqida hikoya so'zliguchi, muzning sungan ovozidek yurak so'qishimizni angla. Ey issiq jallardan tepishmoq tuzguchi, bizga atab qasida yezishni davom et. Ey atir gulni qip-qizil zaharda sug'arguchi, ko'zimizga singib ketgan dengizlarni top. Ey andishiga mahkum bo'lgan yo'l to'squchi, uchishga boshlagan izlarimizni buzma. Ey portretlarni simut tamlog'i chaplag'uchi, qiyomatga oshiq ekanligimizni tushan. Ey bizga go'zal bir zavolni niyat qilg'uchi, jahil ko'chatlarimizning zar bixlaridan qo'rq. Ey o'z xam xiyollarda tinab yurguchi, tasavvurimizga bo'linib qong'udak uxla. Rahmat.
Hope to see Isgil next year at Heavenly Freedom Forum. Now, the third recipient is Gabriela Montero. Montero is an internationally acclaimed Venezuelan pianist and composer. Montero's journey of creative descent began in 2011 with her first orchestral composition, Ex Patria, a tone poem designed to illustrate and protest Venezuela's descent into lawlessness, corruption, and violence. Her recording of the work won a Latin Grammy for Best Classical Album in 2015. Further composition followed, including the Latin Concerto in 2016, Babel in 2018, and Canema, a quintet for piano and strings in 2024. Winner of the 4th International Beethoven Award, Montero is a committed human rights advocate whose voice regularly reaches beyond the concert hall. She was named an honorary counsel by Amnesty International in 2015. In January 2020, she was invited to give the Dean's Lecture on Creative Descent at the Harvard Radcliffe Institute and has spoken and performed twice at the World Economic Forum in Davos. She was awarded the 2012 Rockefeller Award for her contribution to the arts and was featured performer at Barack Obama's 2009 presidential inauguration. Please welcome to the stage Gabriela Montero.
Distinguished guests, good afternoon. I would like to thank the Oslo Freedom Forum for invoking the spirit of Václav Havel in recognizing the important role played by creativity in speaking truth to power. In so doing, I pay profound tribute to my fellow laureates and to men and women worldwide who face persecution for demanding the basic democratic right to live in dignity and freedom. Before any consideration of my creative profession, I am, first and foremost, a citizen. Like any citizen, I am bound by a common duty of care towards my fellow citizens and that duty is not relieved by my skill as a pianist or composer. My conscience is the moral compass that guides my life, and no degree of professional excellence can indemnify me against the fundamental imperative to fight tyranny wherever I encounter it. It is my duty to do so. Against asymmetrical firepower, music, and my platform as a musician is my only weapon. I am under no illusion as to the relative impotence of music, but if, from its coded depths, I can dredge awareness, empathy, and even protest, then I must take aim. Most of you gathered here today will not know that, for more than 2 decades, Venezuelan musicians, to my great regret, have taken to the stage of the world's most renowned concert halls, participating in the systemic co-opting of classical music as an instrument of state-owned, state-funded, and state-run propaganda. Literally dressed in the populist costume of Chavismo, they have bedazzled Western audiences and loudly proclaimed the power of music to transform society. Meanwhile, back home, an entire nation has been transformed in the image of a thugocracy, driven to unprecedented levels of human misery and state failure that have forced 8.5 million Venezuelan citizens into brutal exile. I will not allow my music to conceal the reality of Venezuela's despair. My music will never serve as an opiate to tranquilize a traumatized nation or to perpetuate moribund political mythologies. My music must serve to reveal the excesses of power in all its destructiveness and criminality. I urge all artists to deploy their creative talents to transform our world by protesting tyrants, not serving them, by exchanging self-indulgence for the creative self-sacrifice demonstrated by my fellow laureates, for whom art is not a band-aid, but a scalpel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now Montero will be performing her latest composition of Canema, a quintet for piano and strings. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please welcome my friends of the Calidor Quartet, who have flown in from New York to accompany me in the European premiere of my composition, Canaima. I wrote Canaima Canaima to help expose the devastation of our sacred Amazonian land and its people at the hands of the Maduro regime and its allies. This work consists of 4 movements. The first and second movements portray the indigenous people in their habitat. The piece opens with a melody I quote from a 1970s recording of an old woman singing a traditional song. These 2 movements establish the people of the land. The third movement, Tepuy, takes us to the magnificent tabletop mountains called Tepuyes. My wish was for you to experience in music their grandiose beauty and permanence, unspoiled by human interference until now. This slow movement establishes the place. The last movement depicts the destruction of it all at the hands of the regime. This establishes our present and tragic reality. Thank you.